Hello ladies, welcome back to the Dan Frampton channel. Today I'll be your host, Dan Frampton, and we're going to be talking about this Brody King documentary. Now Brody King is the vocalist, the frontman, the singer of hardcore band God's Hate. He's also a professional wrestler, and this here documentary kind of illustrates his journey from beginning training to be a wrestler all the way to getting signed to AEW. Now it's taken a while for people to see the similarities between wrestling and hardcore. This documentary does a great job of articulating it very eloquently. If you're familiar with the content that normally comes out on this channel, you know that I am merging my love of those two worlds, professional wrestling and hardcore, because in my series Pit Pros, I give people wrestling names and I call the moves like they're wrestling moves, and I try to come up with like through lines and storylines to make everything seem like a universe the way that wrestling does. And the outside world seems to have this kind of stigma against both of them. They see slam dancing and they see just a bunch of angsty, silly people being silly. They look at wrestling and they see a bunch of fucking silly, beefed up guys in underwear just being silly. They don't see the magic. They don't see what's special about these two things. And in a lot of cases up until now, both respective worlds didn't see the value in each other. Hardcore didn't see the value in wrestling, and wrestling didn't really see the value in hardcore. But then CM Punk started to happen, and then I was going to NXT shows and seeing people like with a whole bunch of tattoos and backwards hats and hoodies, and being like, oh man, the hardcore crowd is here. This is crazy. So over the last 7 to 10 years, hardcore and punk have started to merge with one another, where there's actually wrestling happening at punk shows. If you know the festival that happens down in Florida, Fest, there's also Fest Wrestling associated with that. And so the merger of punk and wrestling is not new. But what is new is the rate that these punkers are getting signed as wrestlers. First, it was Zicky Dice, more of a pop punk guy, now a professional wrestler. And then you got Andy Complains from Every Time I Die, being the guitar player with the big mustache and the big beefy muscles, and now he's a wrestler. And then the latest to join this group of people is Brody King. As soon as Brody King decided he wanted to be a professional wrestler, he gave it everything. And this documentary starts off really great, where he says, wrestling doesn't owe you anything. Everything that you get out of wrestling is because you put it in first. I know I'm kind of paraphrasing. You should really go watch the film. They do such a great job of tying all this shit together. But ever since day one, he showed that dedication. And not only did he have that dedication, he could actually move. He could actually perform the moves, and he had the look. So it was obvious that Brody King was going places. So along the indies, he was picking up titles, and he was obviously going places, making such an impact. And then he goes to Ring of Honor, which is just like the indie below the mainstream, and yeah, he really starts to make a name for himself there, and then he gets signed by AEW. All the while, his jaw's wired shut. All the while, he's wrestling with a broken leg. He's wrestling with a broken arm. He knows that he can't afford to miss any time, and he is going to get the most out of this wrestling shit. And goddamn it, does he ever do that. And this documentary is amazing, man. It interviews all the people that were along the ride with this guy all the way to the top. And near the end of this film, I actually kind of started to well up and showed some genuine emotion, because Brody King took a video of his name being shown on the Titantron at Madison Square Garden and sent it to his wrestling trainer and was like, we made it. And the wrestling trainer guy was like, no, we didn't make it, you did. And I was like, this is so emotional. And I loved every little bit of it. It made me love Brody King more as a character. I'm more invested in his storylines now on television, and I'm so stoked to see where all this shit goes. Wherever it happens to go, though, I really do hope that God's Hate stays intact, because that band is goddamn amazing. Brody King is just a very, very talented man. He's very creative, he's very physical, he's very athletic, he's got a lot going for him, and his tattoos make him look so intimidating, along with his gigantic size. So in summation, I think Dylan Shell did a great job with this film. This was such a great look at the independent nature of both wrestling and hardcore. And it was a breezy 27 minutes. The last time I watched a documentary that brought me this close to the scene was that Nigel McGuinness one from back in the day, and it was like 17 million hours long. So this was a really fresh breath of air. Okay, and that's gonna be about it. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked it, slap like, subscribe, hit the notification, share this with a couple friends, and until my next upload, watch another upload.